everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is the 16th of August and I'm starting off the second half of my August reading wrap up. I will link the first part in the description if you haven't seen that already. I think by the time this goes up it's either been up a week or 2 weeks depending on the order that I put things in. And yeah, I am talking to you from a different bedroom floor. So we are down in Wales in the Brecon Beacons with Charlie and his best mate for our family holiday for a week. I'm having a really lovely time, as hopefully you saw from the B-roll. I think there was quite a lot of B-roll because it's been a few days since I spoke to you. So we've travelled down to Wales. We stayed the first night in Dolly the double-decker. I'll leave a link for her below in the description as well because it was really fun, which is this double-decker bus that's been transformed into an Airbnb. And then yesterday we moved into the stables. So we actually booked a whole week in the stables, which is where we are now. And again, I'll leave a link for that below. I've got hiccups. So we actually booked a full week and then the owner messaged us and was like, oh, there's been a mistake. Actually, somebody's already booked the Monday night. Do you want to stay in Dolly instead for that night and then do the rest of the week in stables? And we were like, yeah, sure, that sounds fun. So that's what we've done. So yesterday we moved up to the stables, which is where I'm sat, and chopped all the stuff through the door basically. And then we went and did axe throwing, which was really fun. I don't think I took any B-roll of that at all, because I was doing the axe throwing and obviously the boys are there and I'm not going to show them. And then the boys went off and did quad biking, which also looked fun. I've done it before and I do quite like it, but it was quite expensive and I was like, I'm not that bothered to spend like that much money on it to do. So yeah, the boys went off and did that and I sat in bed in the sun whilst they did, so it was all very lovely. And then today we're just chilling out here. Gary and I've done a Tesco run because that is the joy of being the grown-ups. And where we're staying has a huge games room attached to it, which I think I put in the B-roll, which has got like a pool table and darts and ping pong and all that kind of stuff. So the boys are very much enjoying that. And yeah, we're just kind of hanging out today, getting a little bit of Welsh sunshine, a little bit. So yeah, I just thought I would update you on what we've been doing. I've also finished 2 books. So the first book that I finished was my book to go from London to Rome. And the prompt was to read a book with a romance. And as soon as I saw the prompt, I was like, yes! Finally, because there's literally one book that I absolutely had to read this month, and that book was The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, and this is part of the Chloe's read along for it, and we're going to be doing a live show at the start of September. I think actually by the time this video goes up that live show will have happened, so you can go and see that if you're more interested in our thoughts. But yeah, this was literally the only book I had to read and it hadn't fit any of the prompts yet, so I was very, very happy when Read a Romance popped up. I was like, perfect. I didn't get the blue book bonus because obviously this is a very red cover, but I did get the bonus for BIPOC author. So yeah, I picked this up and I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved this book, loved it. We are following, what is her name? Anna, who is a violinist, and she's gone viral after a video of her playing goes onto YouTube, and she, as a result of this, is kind of stuck. She's kind of got performance anxiety. And also at the same time, her boyfriend, her long-term boyfriend, she thinks he's going to propose and instead he asks her if they can have an open relationship, and that devastates her. So she decides after a while to have a go at dating. She'd only ever been with one man, so she decides to go onto the apps, and there she meets Kwan, who is a side character from the other 2 books, and I was so happy that we got a Kwan story because I've loved him in the other books. And he is getting back into dating after being unwell. And I won't talk about it too much because that's a bit of a spoiler, but he is feeling very kind of insecure in his body for various reasons. So he's also looking for kind of a one-night stand, a casual thing to kind of get back into dating. And the 2 of them kind of link up on the app and it goes from there. And yeah, I gave this 5 stars. This is my favourite of the trilogy. I know I said that about the marriage, the other one, the previous one. I can't remember what it's called, the marriage something, the bride test, not the marriage at all, the bride test. This is definitely my favourite one. I loved how autism was dealt with in this book. I'm not diagnosed with autism. Helen Huang is Own Voices for autism, and Anna is in her sort of early 30s and has spent her whole life kind of mimicking other people. And through this story, she goes on a real kind of discovery of self, and I just loved how that was handled. I also really liked how the relationship between Anna and Kwan is handled, and how, this is a bit of a mild spoiler, but like things between them sexually don't go well to begin with, and I really like how that was discussed and dealt with. I love the relationship between the two of them. There's also a content warning for death of a parent, illness of a parent and death of a parent, and Anna is caring for a family member through quite a chunk of this, and it really goes into detail of how difficult that is and how emotionally and physically draining it is and how conflicting it is, because she is dealing with the question of, you know, we are looking after this person and prolonging their life, but should we be doing that? So yeah, this went a lot further, like deeper than the previous two books in the trilogy. It's also still very spicy. You know, there's some great smutty scenes in this and all of that, but this just went a lot further than the previous two books, and I loved it for that. So yeah, 5 stars, currently my favourite read of the month, but we'll see if it stays that way. And then yesterday, so I've arrived in Rome and we haven't had another prompt, so I thought I'd do some sightseeing, and so I picked up the Do's and Donuts of Love by Adiba Jagradar. This is my first, sorry, I've got to stretch my legs. This is my first book by the author, and I will definitely pick up some others. I really enjoyed this. Lovely Charlotte gifted this to me in June when I was having my brain wobble. And she said in her note, she said, this is perfect. So she said, it sounds like you need to pick me up. I hope you don't already have this. It's my current read and perfect brain soothing so far. And she's absolutely right. This was just the perfect kind of easy read. Like I said, I gave this 4 stars. We are following Shireen, who has just broken up with her girlfriend. Her parents own and run a donut shop, and she gets accepted excuse me, onto like a junior bake-off style show. And some of the parallels were hilarious, like the names of the hosts in this fictional show is hilarious. I don't quite know how they got away with it, but it was fun. And we're following her through this competition, and to make things more complicated, her ex-girlfriend, who she's just broken up with, is also on the competition. She's also on the show. So, sorry, my hiccups, honestly. Yeah, I enjoyed this. It was fun. It was really sweet. The descriptions of the baking, like, honestly made me want to eat so many things. I really liked that you have Bangladeshi culture in this, and you have a fat main character, but nobody is hassling her for her body shape. It's just part of her, and it's queer, and it was just a lovely time. I only gave it 4 stars because I think there were a couple of places where it could have gone a bit further and been a bit more emotionally impactful. I didn't really get the kind of emotional feeling that I wanted. Now there's a bee in here, lovely, from it. And also there were a couple of parts where I was like, come on, let's get going here, please. So yeah, I gave it, and also I felt like I don't want to give spoilers, the kind of competition element of it was a little bit obvious. Let's say that. So yeah, overall I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. We'll definitely read more from the author, and it was a perfect, like, quick, I literally read this whole thing yesterday. Quick, fun, easy read. Absolutely lovely. So yeah, in terms of the Amazing Readathon, we are currently still in Rome. I feel like we're going to get a prompt drop today because we haven't had one since Sunday night, and it's now Wednesday lunchtime. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday lunchtime. I've lost all track of days. So I feel like we're about to get a prompt drop. I've only got 5 books with me, so let's hope one of them fit. For now, I'm going to go and edit the first part of this video and get that uploaded and scheduled. And then I'm going to find a sunny spot and continue on with my reading. It's the 17th of August and I cannot believe that we are going home tomorrow. I think I only spoke to you yesterday, and yesterday I think I said, like, Gary and I went to Tesco's and then we just chilled all day. You can probably hear it in my voice. I've hit another wall for some reason in the last 48 hours, and I think this shows the importance of having the long holiday, because this is now my 4th week off, which I realise sounds obscene. But I've properly hit like a physical and emotional wall over the last 2 days, and just felt completely drained and exhausted. So I think it's just really taking a while for my body to recover. I feel like I will recover like just before we go back to school. So yeah, that's what's been going on. I've literally napped the last 2 days, which I never usually do unless I'm getting ill, and I really hope I'm not getting ill. I'm hoping I'm just hitting a wall. Sorry if you can hear background noise. It's late. I don't usually film this late. It's 9:30 at night, hence the rubbish lighting, for which I apologise, but we're doing the best we can. So yeah, the boys are just having showers and stuff and getting ready to go to bed. We had a really fun day today. We went out this morning and went clay pigeon shooting. The boys were absolute naturals at it. I was very happy because I hit 2 out of the like 40 clay pigeons that were put in the sky for me, shot up for me. So yeah, I was very happy to get 2. But the boys had a really good time. And then we went for some lunch, and then we came back here and we just chilled this afternoon, and then we're going home tomorrow, which is just wild. It's crazy how fast it goes. Because we've got this weekend at home, and then Charlie and I are going on Monday to my aunt and uncle's for a couple of days. Fingers crossed for some decent sunshine, because they are the ones with the pool in their back garden. And then home on Wednesday for GCSE results on Thursday. And yes, I've started having stress dreams about that, but I'll tell you a bit more about that next week. Anyway, today we had a new prompt for the readathon, which was for Santorini in Greece. Beautiful. And the prompt was to read a book with a coastal setting. And I was like, yes, because I only had 4 books with me. And I had One Road In by Hannah R. Palmer. And this is obviously set by the coast. This is literally set like on an island off of the coast of England. So Gary got this for me as part of my anniversary presents. He went onto my wish list. He saw this. He thought the cover was cool. He bought it for me. I obviously put it onto my August TBR because of the blue cover, because I get extra points for a blue cover. And also Hannah is a fellow content creator. She's like Booktube, WriterTube. I'll obviously have linked to her channel in the description. She's absolutely lovely. I really enjoyed her first novel, which I think was number 47. Sorry, dyspraxic, I always get the number wrong. Which I really enjoyed and read, I think, 18 months ago. And this is the second book. So we are following a girl called Sadie, or a woman called Sadie, whose brother vanished 5 years ago. And she gets a call from her mum one day to say that her brother is back. He's just turned up back on the doorstep, can't remember how he got there, and she goes home to see him and kind of get to the bottom of what's happened. And I'll just leave it there. It's a horror. There are a few good jump scares in it. I gave it 3.5 stars. I think I enjoyed number 48. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? Number 47, sorry. I enjoyed more, I think. I gave it 3.5 stars. Hannah can clearly really write. There are bits of this that are really beautiful. The descriptions are really beautiful. Like I said, there's a couple of decent jump scares. I don't read a lot of horror, but like bits of this, I was like, oh no, tense. I think overall for me, the emotional connection was just lacking for me to give it any more than 3.5 stars, but I'm still glad that I read it and it fit perfectly for this prompt. So that is a win for me. So yeah, as you can hear, I need to go to bed because I'm losing my voice. We don't have to be up too early tomorrow. I don't think we need to check out till 11, so it should be a fairly calm start to the day. Although every single morning that I've been here, I'll see if I can get it on film tomorrow. I mean, hopefully it won't happen tomorrow, but I feel like it will. The day started because there is a blue tit, a little bird, that is tapping on the window at about 5:45 a.m. and flying away, and then coming back and tapping at the window. And the only way to make him stop is to open the door. So that's been fun. I told my friend Steph about it. She's like, what are you, like Snow White? And I was like, I wish I wasn't. I just want to sleep. So yeah, I might still have a very early start tomorrow morning. And then we'll be packing up. We'll be taking Charlie's best friend home to his parents first, and then going home ourselves to see the cats, and inevitably for me, do a whole bunch of laundry. It's the 20th of August and it's been a while since I've done a vlog clip looking like a thumb, but today is just one of those days where if I don't film this clip now, I won't have time later, and then I won't have time tomorrow either, so I wanted to get on and film it now. It's Sunday, you might be able to hear the boys playing with the frisbee outside, and obviously we are now home. I think I was last talking to you from Wales, so we travelled back on Friday and we've had a very quiet couple of days. I think Charlie was more tired than he was willing to admit. He's been very quiet the last couple of days, and I think it's because there wasn't much sleep happening whilst he had Jack with him in Wales. So yeah, we've just been having a quiet one at home, and again I've been getting through a mountain of laundry and there was housework to do and all that stuff, but we came home and have just been getting on with that kind of like homey stuff. This morning we watched the England-Spain World Cup football final, which was so exciting. It was so incredible that our Lionesses made it that far. Obviously the match itself didn't go our way, so that was a bit of a disappointment, but still, it's still historic what they've achieved. So yeah, that was an exciting morning. And then tomorrow Charlie and I are off again, which is my final trip of the summer, to my aunt and uncle's for a couple of days, to spend some time with my mum and obviously my aunt and uncle and my brother hopefully, and also spend some time in their pool, because hopefully the weather next week, still cloudy, but it looks like fairly warm and not rainy, so good enough for us to be in the pool. So that's the plan for next week, or at least the first couple of days before I then come back for results day. Big gulp. But yeah, I've got a couple of books to talk to you about. I finished one. I feel like I'm going to have to come in and film another clip before we go to down to Surrey, because I feel like I'm going to finish my book I'm currently reading today. But like I said, I just didn't want to run the risk of not being able to film this clip. I've got one book I finished, one book I bought, and I've received a parcel from Pan Mac, which never happens to me, so that's very exciting, and we'll open that together. So, got hiccups. First of all, the book that I pre-ordered, I didn't even know this was coming out. I don't know how I missed it. And then somebody in the Discord for the Amazing Readathon, I can't remember who it was, but thank you to whoever it was that mentioned that this was coming out, or that they'd read an arc of it, and I was like, I had no idea that was coming out. So I did a quick pre-order and it came out on Thursday. So when I came home Friday, it was here, and it is such a beautiful book. And the book is The Invisible Hour by Alice Hoffman. As you guys will know if you've been here a while, I absolutely adore Alice Hoffman's Practical Magic series. So I was really excited to see this. It's got this beautiful autumnal, I think, cover. Love the colour of it. And it's very short. It's sort of just over 200 pages, I think. Yeah, like 250 pages. I don't even really know that much of what it's about. I just saw Alice Hoffman. It's something to do with a cult and escaping a cult, I think. And I was like, that is enough for me. So yes, I'm going to put this onto my September TBR, I think. As much as I'm desperate to read it now, I can't decide. I might see if it fits into any of the prompts for the Amazing Readathon, I will read it. If not, it will go into my September TBR and I will 100% read it in September. So yes, I was very excited that this arrived. Then the book that I finished reading was my sightseeing book for Santorini. So you had to read a book. What was the thing? Oh, a story with a coastal setting. I had one other book on my TBR that met this, because this is set on an island. Yes, remote Isle of Skye. And that is Charlotte Says by Alex Bell. This was gifted to me by the lovely Chloe when I reached 3,000 subscribers. She also gifted me the first one, which is Frozen Charlotte, close enough. This is the prequel. So Frozen Charlotte is about a girl who goes to stay with her cousins, and there are creepy dolls involved, which are the Frozen Charlottes. And this is the prequel, which is how the Frozen Charlottes ended up in that house in the first place. And in this, we're in 1910, I think, and we've got a young girl, 1910, a young woman who goes to work at a boarding school for girls, and the Frozen Charlottes arrive, and it kind of goes from there. I can't really tell you any more from that. This is YA. It does say on the back, not for younger readers. And I would give big content warnings. This is dark. Content warnings for spousal abuse, child abuse, injury description, animal abuse and mutilation, jump scares. Like this is dark stuff. Do not let the cover kind of fool you. Although it does say here, I know you're in there, which, you know, is creepy. I've struggled with giving this a star rating because I really enjoyed this and I flew through it really quickly. Is it the best written thing in the world? No, it isn't. And I think eventually I settled on a 3.5 stars because I had fun reading it, but the setting in time is 1910, but it could really be anywhere in time, and some of the way the characters were talking was too modern for the era, so that was not great. And also I feel like nothing was really a surprise. It's a bit like the haunted, like if you go to a fun fair and there's like a ghost house or haunted house ride that you go on, you kind of know what's going to happen and you enjoy it along the way, but there's no like big shocks or twists, and this was that equivalent really. So I would say if you read the first one and you're interested in this one, I would pick it up, but it's not one that I'm going to go back to, let's put it that way. But I did enjoy it at the time, so thank you to Chloe. Okay, so yeah, I then came home to an actual parcel from Macmillan. For those of you who don't know, I work with them via Book Break fairly often. They are kind enough to have me on their YouTuber list, so at the end of each month I get an email with the list of ARCs that they're offering, and I can respond and request ARCs. I don't get them every time that I request them. I have been very lucky to have quite a few books from Book Break, but yeah, it's never a kind of a done deal that I'm going to get whatever it is I've asked for, but I do have that privilege, which I'm very thankful for. But yeah, this box arrived. I can't show you the front because it's got my name and address on, and this is an actual like press pack, I think, because usually if I get a bundle of books from Book Break, it just comes in just like a brown cardboard box. So this is clearly something different. So as you can see, I've opened the front, which is a good thing because I was really struggling to get it open. You guys do not need to watch that. So let's open this up together and see what is in there. Ooh, this is very intriguing. It says, you are cordially invited to Veridale's prestigious Illumina races, a spectacle that only happens once a decade during the Illina festival to celebrate the day the goddess Cynthia sent the four harbingers to bring magic to humanity. This year promises to be a race like no other, and hashtag the dark descent. So that's very intriguing. Also, look at that. That's stunning. So I'm assuming this is for This Dark Descent by Caitlin Jefferson. If the rules won't bend, break them. So I do not remember requesting this, but I'm very happy that it's here. Oh my gosh, look at this whole thing. Okay, this is what's underneath. Look at that. Hopefully you can hear the boys having fun outside. So let's see what we have here. We've got this scroll, which is sealed with wax. And again, it says if the rules won't bend, break them. I'm going to undo that in a minute. So yeah, we've got the scroll. Oh, this is exciting. We've got a biscuit. We love a biscuit. So we've got like a shortbready biscuit with the, I'm assuming that's the school crest on it, and then the book itself. So, oh, this is cool. Comes so nicely wrapped. It's got a bookmark with some information on it. I think these are the houses. So in the beginning, the four harbingers gifted magic to humanity. Rach the armoured bull gave physical enchantments for strength and speed. Skyless the burning light granted behaviour enchantments to stoke fury and invoke docility. Lazarin, the great serpent, offered energy enchantments, creating heat and light, and Aslir, the bright star, bestowed ethereal enchantments so that humanity might always find its way home. So that looks really intriguing. And then this is the proof itself. So again, if the rules won't bend, break them. And we've got this here. This is very intriguing. This horse figure. Okay, let's try and get this open. Man, this must have taken ages for them to pack. Okay, so there's that. Let's put that there. And then, okay, so this is for this. Literally, this is just for the ARC. So, okay, so that opens up like that. Oh, okay. So when is this coming out? This is out on the 29th of September. So I need to read this fairly soon. This is obviously the ARC cover. I'm sure the actual cover will be a lot more interesting. And this sounds really interesting. So let's see what this says on the inside of it. So this is, to save her family's ranch, Makira Russell is left with only one option. Enter the Illina, a cutthroat cross-country horse race known for its high death rate as much as its flashy prize money. To have any chance of success, you'll have to recruit Ari, an unlicensed enchanter who creates golems in place of enchanted animals, and Damien Adir, a lord in the midst of a succession battle, and both with their own blood feuds to avenge. In a world as dangerous as this, will hidden agendas and conflicting desires butchers their chance of winning the Illina, or will another rider's dagger? Steeped in Jewish folklore, this page-turning YA romantasy weaves a tale of warring families, forbidden magic, bloodthirsty revenge, and enchanted horse racing that will keep you glued to the page. And it's for fans of Shadow of Bone and The Dark Descent. It's the first in a duology. So this is really exciting, and this is out on the 28th. The 28th of September, I said. Yeah, so how very exciting. Thank you very much to BookBreak for this beautiful package. I will obviously be reading that, fitting that somewhere into my August TBR, hopefully, or the very, very start of my September one. So yeah, that's really exciting. Thank you very much, BookBreak. Okay, I now need to go and make some dinner. I'm also having a video call with Amy from Nonfiction Feminist this afternoon to talk about final designs for my channel art, so that's very exciting. And I might be back with you before we go down to my online course, but if not, you will see some B-roll of when we get there. It's still the 20th of August, now much later. It's about 8:30, 9 o'clock, as you can probably tell from the light, which isn't brilliant, but we're making it work. Also, I don't think you've had this angle on my bedroom yet. You're currently perched in my t-shirt drawer because we're getting creative. Anyway, it's still the 20th of August, and as I predicted in the previous clip, I have just finished another book, which I'm coming in to wrap up, mostly because I don't want to take this with me to my aunt's tomorrow. So I've literally just finished it, so you are getting my fully fresh thoughts. So yeah, let's try this out, because usually I leave it 24 hours before I review to let things percolate, but here we go. So the book that I finished was Still Life by Sarah Winman. This was recommended to me by the lovely Amelia at Amelia Barlow Books. She did this fantastic video when her channel hit a year old, where she recommended books to the people that she felt had helped her with her channel in the first year, and she very kindly included me in there, and this was the book that she recommended to me. And it took me a little while to get around to it. This was a while ago. I did immediately order the book. This beautiful, I love this hardback copy. The paperback edition is also really pretty. The colours are inverted, so it's mostly blue with a bit of white, which I also really like, but I went for the hardback because of course I did. Also, weirdly, it was cheaper. I don't know how that works. Anyway, she recommended this to me because it contains found family and food, which, as we know, are two of my favourite things, my favourite buzzwords for books. And this is the story. This is a bit of a difficult one to explain. I feel like she did a much better job than I'm going to, so I will link that video anyway, so you can go and see what she said about it and the other books that she recommended, because I think she really nailed those recommendations. But I'm gonna try. So we're following lots of characters, but mostly we are following Ulysses and not Eleanor. Oh, why am I so bad at this? Evelyn. And they meet just at the end of World War II in Italy. Ulysses is a soldier. Evelyn is an art historian or something. She's there to kind of repatriate pieces of art that have been stolen by the Nazis during the war. And they meet and they spend a very brief time together, and then they go their separate ways. And it's not a love story, it's about a friendship. And we basically follow mostly Ulysses, but also Evelyn a little bit in the years that follows. So it starts in 1945, I think, and we end in about the mid-70s, into the mid-70s we kind of end. And I loved this. I gave this 4.5 stars. This is beautifully written. It's very slow, and I don't usually have the patience for slow books, but this was so beautifully written that it just picked me up and carried me along. You've got a big cast of characters. You've got definitely found families in this. The descriptions of food are incredible. Ulysses goes back to London, where he's from, at the end of the war, but because of something that happens I won't spoil, he ends up back in Italy, and the descriptions of Italian food made me hungry. I also really loved all the connections between the characters and the threads, and because you have an omniscient narrator, there are times where Evelyn and Ulysses almost meet again and then they don't. And that was really fun, just seeing the ways that their lives could have intersected but didn't. And it's just got a lot to say about family and love and the different kinds of love, and friendship, and the nourishment that you can take from people, both in terms of friendship and time spent, but also food. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I couldn't give it the 5 stars. It didn't give me the emotional punch that I was hoping for, and I know that Sarah Winman is an author that can do that for me, because I read When God Was a Rabbit, which I think was her debut, and that book absolutely destroyed me. It was a few years ago, but I remember absolutely sobbing at the end of it, and this almost got there but not quite. And I think it's just because for me there were slightly too many characters, and I did struggle to remember who was who because several characters have like nicknames. So for me it took a little while to settle into who was who, so I couldn't quite connect all the way, but I did really enjoy this. So thank you very much, Amelia. This was an absolutely cracking recommendation, and I'm really glad that I picked this book up. It's the 24th of August and I am talking to you from the glamorous location of Morrison's car park. I do have a book to talk about, but I'll do that in the next clip because right now I am about to go into school. It is GCSE results day. I quite honestly feel like I might throw up. And for some reason I wanted to document that. This is the only day I'm going into school this summer as well. So I'm going in early. It's about 7:30ish now. And the results don't come out till 10, so the kids can come and get them between 10 and 12. But I'm going to get in and make sure my classroom is how I want it. I did leave it immaculate, but I don't know if it got used during activities week, and also the school runs like summer schools and stuff over the summer, so I don't know if it's been messed with. So I'm going to go get my room ready. I also need to like print my timetable and get my head around that, and I need to print class lists and try and do seating plans and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do that for a couple of hours this morning, then do results day stuff in the main hall between 10 and 12, and we'll see how that goes. And then I was going to see how I feel because Charlie's with Gary all day today. If I feel like I want to keep going with my prep, then I will, and if I feel like I want to go home, then I will. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is my first time having a year 11 group, and I'm just so nervous for them. Like and obviously their results reflect on me as well, and we as teachers get scrutinised. But I'll be honest, maybe this isn't something I should be saying publicly on the internet. I don't care about that side of things. I know that I've put all of my effort into helping those kids get their best possible results, so I know there is nothing else I could have done, and I am comfortable with that. But what's making me anxious this morning is that those kids get the results that they worked for and that they deserve and that they need for their next steps. So yeah, I'm feeling very angsty today. I think it's also, I'm feeling a bit sad because I've had this group since they were 14 and then I'm 16, and this will be the last time I see them. And you know, not all of them might come. So yeah, it's going to be an emotional day, I think, either way. So yeah, I just thought I'd tell you that from Morrison's car park. So yeah, just been to get some supplies because my room has run out of everything. Oh, and like I've had weird, like it's one of the few, sorry, there's now somebody fully watching me vlog, which is not at all awkward, they're just getting in the car there. Weird thing that I've been like told off for online is buying supplies for my classroom. I would rather not buy supplies for my classroom with my own money, but the reality of the British education system is if I don't buy tissues and wipes and stuff, I won't have any. And I need them to keep my room how I want it. So yeah, I've just been to buy a few supplies, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. So yeah, please don't like moan at teachers for that. We're just doing the best we can. Anyway, I need to go. I'm officially procrastinating. So yeah, let's go to school and see how it goes. the 25th of August and yesterday was very emotional. As you can hear from my voice, it's early in the morning. I also spent a lot of yesterday crying, happy tears. But yeah, it was a real roller coaster of a day. My kids did really well. I say really well, like fellow teachers will understand this. Unfortunately, my data looks rubbish because the kids are given targets, which incidentally are nothing to do with me. Like, I don't get any input on those. And if they don't meet those targets, it makes the data look bad. But the vast majority of my kids passed. I had 2 kids that didn't make it, who I knew unfortunately weren't going to make it this time around, but they'll do resits and they'll be fine. I had 2 of my class who managed to pull 8s out of the bag, which is incredible. For those of you who are like used to the old system of letters, that's an A. And everybody else got what they needed. So yeah, it was a really good day. I also had a couple of my kids who did pass who were like really borderline, so I was really excited that they got across the line. So yeah, it was very, very emotional. Mostly just saying goodbye to them, that was really hard. But yeah, just being with them when they got the results was quite something. And then I was at school for a total of about 6 hours yesterday, getting my room ready and just getting myself prepped. And I've done things like printing class lists off, and I rearranged my room a bit because my biggest class last year was 34 kids, and so far at the moment my biggest class is 29, so I've set my room up for 32 just in case, because they like to shove a few more in if they can. But it meant I was able to get rid of a whole table and 2 chairs, which was good because this is really boring teacher stuff. It just meant I could bring the tables that are at the edges further in so the kids' view is better. So I've done that. I'm feeling a lot better about going back to work. I'm actually feeling a little bit excited to get back into it, which will probably only last for all of a week when we actually get started. But yeah, I've done all of that yesterday, and I now finally feel like I can breathe for this last 6 days of holiday. I don't think I realised how much I was thinking about and feeling anxious about the results. Sorry, I haven't brushed my hair yet because Charlie and I are going swimming this morning, so there was no point. I have brushed my hair, I haven't washed it because we're going swimming, so I haven't bothered yet this morning. But yeah, yesterday was really good. It was exhausting physically and emotionally. I was in bed before 8 o'clock last night because I was just like, I just need to go lie in a dark room. Today, Charlie and I, like I said, we're going swimming, and then we'll probably go for lunch. There's a lounge like near the leisure centre, so we'll do that. And I need to do a bit of housework and stuff. So nothing very exciting. And then tomorrow will definitely be housework stuff and all my chores and things. And then Sunday is mine and the mother-in-law's birthday party. So yeah, I'm like excited to relax properly now and get excited for my birthday stuff. So yeah, I do have 2 books to talk to you about as well. So the first book was an audiobook, so I'll put a picture probably here, but I've got it written down so I can remember what it was. And that was the book of The Unnamed Midwife by Meg Ellison, and it was narrated by Angela Dorr. This is one that Amy from Nonfiction Feminist talks about a lot, and had highly recommended. And my GoodReads said that I'd read it before, but GoodReads is lying. I've never read this book before. I did really enjoy it. I gave it a solid 4 out of 5 stars, and we are following our unnamed narrator when a plague sweeps the globe. This kind of flu pandemic happens. So this was written a few years ago, but if you are still feeling quite sensitive about COVID, this is definitely one to ignore for a while until you're ready, because she works in a hospital and she gets ill herself, and it's killing mostly women and children, and she works as a midwife, and it's killing all of the babies. There are only babies that are born dead or dying, so obviously massive content warnings for that. And she gets ill and she falls asleep feeling really ill, and when she wakes up, it's a bit like the start of 28 Days Later. Everyone in the hospital is dead. She cannot find a single living person, and it's about what happens to her, and that's kind of all I can tell you. It's a book within a book, because we start at some point in the future, like further on from her story, from her time, and you have a group of the mothers who are reading the book of The Unnamed Midwife to a group of people. And yeah, I enjoyed this. It's quite slow. It's very dark. So I've already said content warnings for miscarriage and death of children, including young babies, death in general, and kind of pandemic plague content warnings, but also for sexual assault or sexual violence, murder, survival injuries. I don't want to be too specific, but all the things you would expect to come from basically a post-apocalyptic novel, because that's what it is. And there are very, very few women left, so you can imagine how that goes. So yeah, I thought this was really interesting. It had a lot of things to say about gender and identity and kind of loneliness as well, and how society might rebuild after this kind of event, how society is likely to break down, how things are likely to go, all of that stuff. I really liked the end as well, and I liked it so much I've already picked up the Book of Etta. I'm currently reading that on audiobook, although I very much doubt I'll finish that before the end of the month. So you'll probably see that in September's wrap up. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was a really solid book. I can see why Amy recommends it. That was my sightseeing book, so I've got my notebook down here. That was my sightseeing book for Cairo, because for Cairo you had to have a storyline set in the past, and obviously we start in the future from the unnamed midwife, and then that whole narrative is the past because she's retelling her story. So that counted as my sightseeing book for Cairo, and have just arrived in Beijing with Affinity by Sarah Waters. This was gifted to me by the lovely, lovely Laura. I think it was Laura. Say lovely, lovely Laura. Imagine if it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was. Yes, it was. A while ago now. Sorry. And this is my Beijing book, because you had to have like swirly font on the cover, like calligraphy style, which I thought was a really clever prompt. So I went with this, and it's blue. This I gave 4 out of 5 stars as well. It's slow, and I think that's my main problem with it. I feel like this has slowed my reading down quite a lot. But we are following, what is her name? Oh my goodness, it's not going to tell me on the back. We follow a woman who is a visitor at, Margaret I think it is, who is a visitor at Millbrook Prison, and she, this is set in Victorian London, and they had this thing where like ladies could go and visit with prisoners and talk to them and try and, you know, bring them to salvation or whatever. And she becomes a lady visitor at the prison, and she meets Selena Dore, who is a spiritualist who is there on charges of fraud and I think assault after somebody died at one of her seances. And it's about these two women. You get bits of Selena's story, you get quite a lot of Margaret's backstory and her kind of home life and things, and it's about how these two women kind of become connected, let's put it that way. I liked this. Like I said, I gave it 4 stars. Maybe it's more of a 3.5. Let's stick with a 4 and be generous. I thought parts of this were very, very slow. I didn't like the end. I felt like Margaret made some really bad decisions, and it was really obvious what was happening, but she couldn't see it. And I also was left with quite a few questions about what was real and what wasn't. But if you like historical fiction, if you're interested in spiritualism, if this time period is interesting to you, I'd recommend it. Sarah Waters can definitely write. For me, this definitely comes in the middle for me, because I DNF'd The Little Stranger. I read one of her others that I now can't remember the name of. I read Fingersmith. That was okay, and I gave 5 stars to Tipping the Velvet, and Tipping the Velvet is still one of my favourite books of all time. So this didn't hit the heights of that, but I did read it, I finished it, 4 stars. Thank you very much, Laura, for sending it to me. I'm really glad that I got to read it, and that means I've now arrived in Beijing. We've just had our next prompt. We've only got 2 places left. We're flying to Japan. I can't remember right now which city she said it was, but I'll look that up. And then we have one more after that, and then the Amazing Readathon is done, and that is because August is coming to a close, which is a bit of a shocker. So yes, I need to go and get the teenager ready. We're going to go swimming, and then for some lunch. It's the 27th of August and I'm coming to you from our constantly messy spare room slash Gary's office slash laundry room slash dumping site. This is the kind of the best corner and you can still see stuff here. So we're just going to roll with it. Tomorrow is my 36th birthday and I'm obnoxiously excited about it. Today, my mother-in-law, I think I've said this already, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but my mother-in-law's birthday is the 18th. So we always share our family gathering and it's today. And I literally woke up at like 5 a.m. really excited about it because I am that big of a child. I love birthdays. I love my birthday. I love other people's birthdays. I just like having everyone together and everyone being happy and presents and cake. I mean, come on, who wouldn't enjoy that? So yeah, that's today. So I've got a book to tell you about as well, and I just kind of wanted to break up the B-roll footage, to be honest, because we're now going to swap into birthday stuff. So when I spoke to you last, I was about to go swimming with Charlie, so we managed 45 minutes in the pool, did about 40 lengths. It's really good, continued swimming, and then went and had lunch at the lounge, which was also really nice. Didn't do much the rest of that day, but I realised on the drive home that I don't have any work trousers or work shoes because mine had come to the end of their life at the end of last term, so I recycled those. So yesterday I had to go into Bristol, went to Cabot Circus. Did I go to Cabot Circus? Yes, Cabot Circus. To try and replace them. And obviously tomorrow is my birthday, so I can't bookshop right now. I'm on a complete ban. And it turns out I really hate shopping when I can't at least bookshop as well. I got in early, I went by myself, I managed to get school shoes. I did not manage to get work trousers. That is proving elusive. And to be honest, I had a minor meltdown in the change rooms in Next because I seem to be a size 17 and that doesn't exist in the UK because the size 18s were baggy in weird places and size 16s didn't do up properly, and it was just like, oh, I gave up in the end. So that was a little bit demoralising, I'm not going to lie. I think my ego took a bit of a bruising there. But I did get some bubble tea and I got myself a Wagamama's, and then I just felt really poorly. I don't think it was the Wagamama's, by the way. I don't think the two things are linked. I think I just got really overwhelmed and really hot. So I came home and then I kind of was in this weird mood yesterday afternoon where I felt physically rubbish, but my brain was like whirring. Talking about it now, it was clearly anxiety. So yeah, I just sort of went between laying in bed, clearing out a few things. I love throwing things away. I find that really calming. Don't know why. So I cleared out one of the set of drawers in this room. This room honestly causes me so much stress. I hate clutter and this room is nothing but clutter. And having a bath and reading. So yeah, it was fine. It was just a bit of a weird evening. And then we finished off by playing a final Mario Kart tournament because Charlie goes back to his mum today after 2 weeks with us, which is always rubbish. So we finished off with a final Mario Kart tournament, which I most definitely lost. I sucked at it last night. So that's catching you up. And like I said, today we're going for our family gathering for Chris and I for our birthdays. We're going out to a pub. Usually for family birthdays I cook a roast and she makes a cake. I'm not cooking for my birthday, so we're going to a local pub that does a carvery, although I don't know if I'm going to have roast dinner today. Fascinating, I know, sorry. She's still making me a cake because she is an absolute queen, so I'm really excited to see what she's created. If you've watched any of my vlogs before, she always does these amazing cakes. So she does, like, for my sister-in-law's birthday, who was the last one, she did a football pitch because she's really into Tottenham, I think, one of the football teams she's really into, and football in general. So she did a full pitch with players on it and goalposts and all kinds of stuff. And she's done, well, she does like the traditional, like, or traditional in our family, hedgehog cake that she used to do for the boys when they were young. She's done minion cakes, she's done motorbike cakes. She did a massive 13 for Charlie's birthday last year that was just filled with different pick and mix sweets. Like, I'm really excited to see what she's come up with for us. So yeah, that's today. But I have finished a book. So this is my book to get to Tokyo, because the Tokyo prompt was a book with a destination in the title. I literally had one book. I'm not going to be able to do any sightseeing for Tokyo because it's the only book on my TBR with a destination in the title, and that is Over London by George Penney and Tony Johnson. I was sent this by the publishers, I want to say in July. I feel like you guys saw me on book this in July, and I think I said it's middle grade. Most definitely is not. It's definitely adult. And the publishers reached out to me. This is published by Swashbuckler Press, which is an indie, because they thought I would like this, which I did. I gave it 3.5 stars. And it's very much, it reminded me a lot of Terry Pratchett. It's very in the same vein as a kind of Discworld novel. So I feel like if you're a massive Terry Pratchett fan and you are trying to fill the gap that's been left by his death, give this a go. This comes out in September. I think it's like the 24th or something. In the description I'll link the website where you can see all the information and order it, pre-order it and all that kind of stuff. I thought this was fun. I gave it 3.5 stars. We are in Over London, which is this kind of floating city, and it's an alternative history, basically, where Anne Boleyn, instead of being beheaded, she became queen and then went a bit mad, and Over London was created, and there are various different cities that are referenced that are over, like over Tokyo, over Madrid, all of that kind of stuff. And we are following Alex Rain, and she is an ex-pirate, and she has become a private investigator, basically, because she's lost her ship, and you can't be a captain or a pirate without a ship. So in the meantime, she has set up this detective agency, and I can see why the publishers thought I would like this. There is found family, it's really funny, it's you know, there is peril involved, but it's fairly mild peril, and it was just an easy, fun time. I think my criticism of it would be that it didn't feel very secure in terms of where we were in time, because on the back it says a rollicking comedy fantasy whodunit with a Tudor twist. Now, unless I was told that, I wouldn't necessarily know. It's kind of historical, but not specifically historical. It could be anywhere from the Middle Ages to the Victorian era, because you have mentions of things like horse-drawn carts, although they're goat-drawn carts in this, and people using outside toilets and not having indoor plumbing. There's no electricity, they're using candles, all of that kind of stuff. But you've also got this technology that is running the city. So it was a bit like, I'm not quite sure where we are in time, and I as a reader kind of need a firm setting. I think also the mystery of it, because she's solving this case of why the local priests keep exploding. Apologies for the background noise. I felt like I worked that out really quickly, and it was really obvious who it was. But I did enjoy it, and it was a fun time. And like I said, if you are missing Terry Pratchett and looking for something to fill that gap, this could be for you. And it's out in September. So massive thank you to the publishers for sending that to me. So now, as you can see, I'm in my glad rags, my going out outfit. I need to get my house tidy before lots of people come around, because we are going out for food, but then we're coming back here for cake. And then I'm going to go and celebrate my birthday. It's the 30th of August, and as you can see, I've had just the best birthday. You can see some of my cards up here. There was a strong cat theme, as there often is. By the time you see this, I'll have put up my birthday, like my what I got for my birthday video. So I'm not gonna like go in here about books that I got or anything else, because that you will have seen that already. So I'll link that in the description as well. But I just jumping in to say I had a really lovely day. I don't have any reading updates because my reading's been really slow because I've been busy doing birthday stuff. Oh, is that somebody coming to my door? No. Yeah, I don't actually have any reading updates, but I just kind of wanted to jump in quickly and just say I had a fantastic birthday. Thank you so much to everybody that messaged me, sent me things, you know, just made my day feel really special. So yeah, thank you. It was a really, really lovely day. Today I am filming, so that's why I'm in my filming setup. So I'm doing all of my September content. So I need to film the intro and the outro to the what I got for my birthday video, because I literally on my birthday I was so excited. I just filmed the opening clip, so I need to like make it into an actual video. I've also got a really cool unboxing to do that I'm excited about. I'm going to do a tag and then my recommending booktubers video. So today I want to get all my content done for September. So filming, editing, thumbnails, uploading and scheduling, get it all done. Plus I want to get as much of my Instagram content like scheduled, because we all know September is going to be a really, really intense month going back to school. I've also decided last minute, well not that last, well yeah, it's the 30th, I've decided last minute to take part in Chloe's Vampire Diaries readathon as well. I know literally nothing about the Vampire Diaries. I'm not interested in the Vampire Diaries. I don't want to watch Vampire Diaries. It's just not my thing. I feel like it would have been if I'd like watched it like 10 years ago, but I feel like I've missed that boat. However, I really, really love the prompts that she's put together. And I think that like last year I read like 20 odd books in August like I have this year, and then in September I read like 4 and there's reasons for that, because life gets really busy and intense and I get very tired in September, but I don't want my reading to drop off that much. It's so important to my mental health. I want to at least try and put something in place to like guide my reading. So there's 10 prompts, so I've put together a 10 book TBR. Hello Molly Pops. Hi. Oh, she's soaking wet. Delightful. I swear it's because she's so low to the ground. She's always like, just comes in soaking wet. Yeah, so there's 10 prompts. I'll link Chloe's announcement video in the description if you want to go and see that, because it's going to run all the way through September. And if you're like me and you know nothing about the Vampire Diaries, that's absolutely fine. It's all about like logging as many books, reading as many books as possible. So yeah, I've put together my TBR for that yesterday. That was quite fun. Yesterday was for getting my hair cut and coloured. I've gone back to the brown. I enjoyed the blonde, but I feel like going back to brown for brunette for the autumn was the way to go. And it's got a slightly, it's not really showing up on camera, it's got a slightly like reddish tinge to it. Oh, you can see a little bit there, which I really like, and she as usual did a beautiful job of cutting it back into shape for me. So that was yesterday. Today is all about content. Tomorrow I have to go to Bristol again to try and get work trousers. Can't wait. However, I do have some book vouchers as well that I will probably spend, so there'll be at least one more clip. There will be one more clip before the end of this vlog, but I just wanted to jump in today because I'm in my filming setup to just say I had a great birthday. Thank you so much to those of you that helped to make it so fantastic. And yeah, today is all about content, and I should also probably try and read something. And those were almost all of the books that I read in the month of August. It is now the 2nd of September and I am coming in to wrap up the second part of this wrap up. If you haven't seen the first part, I will link it in the description if you want to go and see what I was up to at the start of the month. Obviously post birthday, you know, only had a couple of days left in the month and it's been much quieter, as you would expect. I got my hair cut and coloured. The blonde is gone now. Well, mostly. It's been covered but like obviously bits of it are still coming through, which is kind of nice. And yeah, I had my back to school haircut. I also finally got some work trousers sorted. M&S came through in the end, thank you very much. And then yeah, I had one final quiet day, and then it was back to school, which I'll tell you about in my September wrap up, because I feel like this is for summer stuff only. You can also see that the portrait from Amy is temporarily up here. It's going to go up on the wall in our hallway, but it's just chilling there until we get around to that. So I have got 4 more books to tell you about, 3 that I've read and 1 that I pre-ordered and had forgotten about and arrived on the 31st of August. Then we'll do stats. I'll tell you a little bit about the Amazing Readathon, and then we will finish this video. I will stop talking, you can go on with your day. So the first book that I finished since I spoke to you last was This Dark Descent by Kaylin Jofferson. This is obviously an arc. It comes out, I think it's like the 28th of September, I want to say. Yeah, 28th of September, I was correct. So our final prompt for the Amazing Readathon to get from, I'm just checking my notes, from Tokyo to Sydney was to read a genre blend, and this is a fantasy romance. So it was literally the only thing I had on my TBR that fit that prompt. I haven't done any sightseeing at all, because I clearly don't really read that many genre blends. Maybe I should be. Recommend me some of your favourites and I will have a look at them. Yeah, so this is a YA fantasy romance in which we are following a girl called something, Makira, and she is basically forced to enter this horse race, this kind of horse competition, in order to save her father. And along the way, she gathers together a group of people who will help her with this. It's very much kind of Six of Crows vibes. A lot of morally grey characters, some magic, some romance, all of that kind of stuff. I gave this a, what did I give this, a 3? I gave it a 3.5. This isn't my kind of book. I need to stop trying to read. Well, I say I need to stop trying to read YA fantasy, but then one of my favourite books of the month was the YA, the Hades and Persephone, what was it called? Girl, Goddess, Queen. And I shouldn't have liked that, but this was fine, to quote Chloe. I think that for the right people, in the right hands, that people will really, really love this book and the writing style. It's based very much on Jewish mythology, which is not something I've really read much of before that I'm aware of, but I really enjoyed all of that side of things and kind of exploring that a little bit. There are a couple of romances that happen within the group of characters, one in particular that I really liked, and I would probably read more of their story. This is the first in a duology. I would really read more of their story, but obviously it's not the main focus. I also really liked, there's kind of a very brief discussion between 2 female characters about how one of them needs to be emotionally connected to somebody before they can be physically attracted, which is the definition of demisexuality. I'm demisexual. You don't get that representation very often in books, and I really liked how it was this fairly brief, very like normalized conversation, then the characters went on about their day. I really liked how that was done. I also liked the actual races themselves. I really liked, they were really exciting, and I liked, as well as the romance between various characters, I also really liked the friendships that were built. So there were things that I enjoyed. I think for me it was too slow. And it felt like I didn't feel very secure in the world. I didn't feel like the world building was great, which I need as a reader. So yeah, I gave it a 3.5. I feel like when this comes out, there will be people that will absolutely love this. And I think if you like books like Six of Crows, and possibly like Ninth House, but not as dark, you could try this one. So yeah, thank you to Book Break for sending that to me. I am very happy that I got to read it, and it fit perfectly for the Amazing Readathon prompt. Then the next book that I read was an audiobook, so I will put a picture up here. I've got it as usual on a post-it note, and that was The Book of Etta by Meg Ellison, and the narrator was, oh, my handwriting is really bad here, I apologise, Adrenlo Ojo, and I gave this a 4.5. This is the second book in the Road to Nowhere series, which starts with the Book of the Unnamed Midwife that you saw me read earlier in the month, and we are following Etta. We're now about 100 years from the Book of the Unnamed Midwife, and in that book there is a extinction level plague which wipes out the majority of the population of Earth, mostly women and children. And it's like I've already said in this video, like big content warnings for plague. So if you're still feeling a little bit kind of sensitive to COVID stuff, don't pick this series up, because it's very heavily in that vein. And even though we're now 100 years down the road, no pun intended, there is still a lot of talk of what they call the death years, or the death year. And we're following Etta, and they probably more accurately, are trying to find their place in the world. And that's all I'm really going to say, because it's a second book. There are a lot of discussions in here about PTSD and trauma, heavy content warnings for rape, including gang rape, and sexual assault and violence. It is a very dark book. There's also lots of discussions about gender and sexuality, and Etta is living in a world where people are trying to survive and are trying to bring what they call the balance back between having enough females as well as males in the world, and there is no space in that world for anyone who is not willing to breed. And there's also not space in that world for people who are queer in any way. And this is very much an exploration of what it means to be different to those around you, and how you could find the strength to be both yourself and kind of acceptable to those around you. I'm probably not explaining it very well, but I really like this. I gave it 4 stars. I felt like the beginning was very slow. It took a while to get into the story, and I didn't love the very end, but I liked it enough to download the next book, the name of which has completely escaped me. The Book of Flora, maybe, which I think is the end of the trilogy. But yeah, I'm really glad I picked these up. Amy recommended the first one, and I've been enjoying my reading experience. So that was that one. And the last book of the month was The Honeymoon by Kate Gray. This you saw me open if you've seen my what I got for my birthday video, which I will put in the description. You will know that Charlotte from Books and Bargains sent me this as part of that parcel. I had seen that she'd had an arc of this because this came out in like June time, I think. July, came out on 20th of July, and I thought it looked interesting, so she was very kind enough. She very kindly, very tired today, very kindly passed this on to me. This was fun. I give it a 3.5. Yeah, I gave it a 3.5. It was okay. It was entertaining. I feel like this is exactly the kind of book that I would read on holiday and leave in the hotel for the next person, or leave by the pool. We are following 2 couples who are both on the honeymoons in Bali. They meet on their last day. They all decide to go out for dinner together for that last evening, which, by the way, I think is weird. I don't want to spend time with anyone but my husband on honeymoon, but that's me. And by the end of the evening, an accident, something has happened and somebody ends up dead. And it's about the aftermath for the 2 couples, and kind of the secrets that they're hiding and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I gave this a 3.5. I really loved the first 100 pages, really gripped. I didn't love how things played out, and the very end I felt was super obvious. I did like the twists and turns. I did go back and forth a few times on who the bad guy was, and you've got some seriously morally grey characters here. But I won't remember this. There's no way I will remember this next month. So yeah, it was entertaining at the time. It's the perfect thing for the end of the summer where I was feeling a bit anxious and I just needed something quick and easy to read. So thank you, Charlotte, for sending it to me. But yeah, 3.5. It was a book and I read it. It was fine. So yeah, there we go. Okay, then the book that I pre-ordered and had completely forgotten was coming until it arrived at my house on the 31st of August was Manslaughter Park by Terza Price. I've been really enjoying this series. These are Jane Austen novels rewritten, reimagined with a very strong feminist twist, but also murder, as you can tell by the title. So the first one's Pride and Premeditation, and then we had Sense and Second Degree Murder, and then this is the third one, which is Manslaughter Park. I don't even really know what this is about. It's going to be, obviously, I know the story of Manslaughter Park, not Manslaughter Park. Oh my gosh, Mansfield Park. But I don't even really know what this is about. So yeah, cool hardcover. I've got this downloaded on audiobook. I've read all of the books on audio, but I've still been collecting the hardbacks because just like, look at this cover. I love a cover that looks like it's like hand stitched. It's really cool. And you've just got some creepy little additions like the skull here, for example. I just think are really fun. So yeah, I don't even really know what this is about, but it's a murder mystery set in Jane Austen's world, and I think they're fun. So you'll more than likely see this in my September wrap up. Okay, let's finish off this vlog with some stats. Got my trusty blue book. I always get questions about this notebook. It's literally just an Amazon like A5 lined notebook, and I bought it like 3 years ago, I think. And this has got my reading stats in it. When did I start this? In 2022, so last year I started using it. And it works for me. Like, it's super basic. It's nothing pretty. The cover is pretty, but the inside is very basic. Okay, so I read 23 books in August, which is easily my best month of the year so far, for obvious reasons. I wasn't at work, I was on holiday, I was mostly reading. I read 7,806 pages over the month, which is good going, which is 252 a day, which is really good because it's given me a comfortable lead on both my pages and my book targets on StoryGraph and GoodReads, which I feel like I'm going to need as we go into September. My average star rating was 3.8, sounds about right. My most disappointing hasn't changed since the first part of this vlog. It's still All of the Above by Juno Dawson. I'm still glad I got to read it and cross it off Juno Dawson's backlist, but I felt that this was going to be like a 4 or 5 star read. So for it to get, what did I give it, a 3? Yeah, I gave it a 3. So that is quite disappointing. I do still love this cover though, and I will still probably put this in the school library, but it was definitely my most disappointing. My favourite read of the month has changed from the first part of this vlog, and this is the only book that I gave 5 stars to this month, and that's The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. I was not expecting to love this book as much as I did. I've already talked about it in this video, so I won't go on about it again. Also, if you're watching this video on the day it goes up, this afternoon at 4 o'clock BST, Chloe and I will be live on her channel discussing this as part of the read-along stuff, so I'll link that description. Even if you're watching this like later on, I'll still link it anyway so you can see what we talked about. But yeah, I absolutely love this book, gave it 5 stars, keep thinking about it. It just really resonated with me and that is why it is my favourite read of the month. So TBR is at 46, which is the same as what it was at the end of July. In terms of balancing the books, I've read 21 books off my TBR because the 2 audiobooks weren't physically on my TBR, so they didn't count. I've hauled 19 books this month, but that does include my birthday, and I don't think that's too bad for a birthday month. But it means that I've only read 2 more than I hauled, so I need to calm down. And in terms of year to date, I've still hauled 5 more books than I've read, so I really need to like slow my roll in September in terms of having books come in. Okay, and then finally the amazing readathon. Again, marvel at how basic my spread is. I read all 10 prompts. I also read 7 sightseeing books, plus 2 for the face-off weekend, so that's like 19 books that I read this month was for the readathon. And in terms of total points, I contributed 11,537 points, which I am pretty pleased with. There were people on Team Blue who read like 60 books in the month, which is incredible. I'm sure there were on other teams as well, but obviously I was co-captaining Team Blue. But yeah, I feel like just over 11,000 points is pretty good for a month, so I'm happy with that. At the time of filming this, I don't know who won. It's being announced today, so I'll link Brianna's I think she's doing a vlog where she announces it, so I'll link that as well so you can see. I don't think Blue won. We only won 1 leg. We only came bottom once as well, so I think we're going to be middle of the pack, but we will see. Okay, this has been an epically long video as usual. I've had a really, really, really lovely summer, so I feel very lucky for that. I'm very privileged that I have had such a fantastic break. I feel like September is going to be a challenging month as we go back to school. I've got all new classes. I'm not teaching any kids that I taught last year, so that's going to be a challenge by itself. I'm also starting my young carer lead role within the school, so that's going to bring with it new challenges and new stuff to do. And I'm now fully qualified, which means I have a full teaching load. So there's a lot happening. I've got new colleagues. There's lots happening. However, that is for September's vlog. But thank you so much if you have watched along and you've followed my summer. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much to all of you who have sent me messages and comments and interacted with me on Twitter and Instagram and interacted here. I absolutely adore it. So thank you so very much. If you've made it to the end of the video, let's have a motorbike emoji for Kwan's motorbike, because that's a very enjoyable part of the story and his character. So yeah, leave me a motorbike emoji if you made it to the end of the video. Please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye!